Hello, welcome to the 4th day of December 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a live video diary exercise that I do every morning at 5:30 a.m. to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met. I go over my creed, and I prepare for the coming day. But first, welcome to new subscribers, and thank you for joining me. This is a journal exercise that I do. It's private information that I share publicly. You're welcome to watch and leave comments or criticisms as you see fit, which I will read and respond to when I'm done. I do talk about death reliably every day, so keep that in mind if that's a sensitive subject for you. Okay, jumping into it. Looking at the last 24 hours, I had a very nice day yesterday. I think it might have been the last nice day for a while. I spent, after breakfast, I spent literally the whole morning in the bamboo forest, gently trimming the dead underbrush that had collected there over the past 70 years. A significant job. I had the benefit of my sharper pruning shears. Earlier in the week, I bought a stone, a sharpening stone, and learned how to use it, and set up a little sharpening station in the garden. A very pleasant little place with a little bucket of water where I can keep my sharpening stone nice and wet and grind away. And it worked really well. I learned how to do it. Learned how to work really well, and I was able to very peacefully spend time in the bamboo forest cutting. I also cleaned up the garden area, turned the soil on one row of garden, just basically had the nicest time. And then later in the evening, I went back to the garden with my guitar and sat, although an evening wind, a late afternoon, early evening wind began to blow, blowing the last of the leaves from the trees, filtering down into the river. I found a nice place to sit on my milk cart and strum my guitar and watch the evening unfold, realizing that in just a few days I'll be leaving all this behind, going back to America to attend to the situation back there. I will confess that that was the last of the piece. Last night I didn't sleep well. I was up for a good portion of the night. In my typical tossing and turning, which I do so often, which was how I address my difficult parts in life. My difficulties emerge sometime between 3 a.m. and 5. Sometimes 2 a.m. and 5, and with night thoughts. I really, really don't want to go back to America. Nothing against America. I just don't. I've just really settled into a very peaceful life here. I like my life here. I like my home with my wife and my dogs and the family and the routines that we have. And I don't want to. I'm loath to give that up. So that was a tricky night. I can't say that I handled it particularly well. I typically don't. Uh, I think early morning hours like that are my most vulnerable hours, and I don't tend to intellectualize it much, or even to attempt to apply my creed. I simply kind of just live it out. I've always done that. Just kind of let the hours pass. Maybe it's the time when I'm at my weakest. I think that's the case. It's not something I need to necessarily address. It's just a part of me. I'm very fortunate that my life is largely free of stress anymore, and the situation that's happening back in the States is a very enormous thing. It is a combination of situation and horror show, and I am rallying my values, my creed, to full uh, effort in on that front, to good effect, I must say, which I won't talk about here because, as I've said many times, it's not my situation to share, but I can tell you that I am utilizing my values every day as I prepare to go back, as I prepare my plan of action for how I'm going to deal with the situation once I get there, and how I've been dealing with it up until now. That's separate from the sense of sadness that attends the fact that I have to leave this life behind. I really do like the life that Yumiko and I have created, and I don't want to go. but go I will. My creed consists of 8 objectives and 35 principles. The 8 objectives are: number one, to be at all times ready to die, with my affairs, relationships, and life's work in order. Number two, to make good and effective use of my time. Number three, to develop and maintain my life principles and objectives. Number four is to cultivate good emotional reactions. Number five is to perform good actions relative to my values. Number six is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities. Seven is to do just one thing at a time and do it slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number eight is to achieve and maintain a sense of balance. As for reading today, I'm going to read the Feast of Offal, which is a little tricky because it's 2 pages. I have to switch the page a little bit after I start. The Feast of Offal, aka the banquet of our suffering. Offal, Offal, is the waste and byproduct of butchery. Intestines, eyeballs, skin, hair, bone, whatever, that the butcher then has to find a way to utilize. It could be considered a kind of a wasteful product. And I use it to imagine the kind of like a bile-like substance that we expel in our upset. Not in fact, but when we lose control of our mind, our ability to think clearly, our ability to control our thoughts and our words and our actions, we might be in danger when emotion strikes us to project our emotion through our facial expressions, our words, our actions, etc., our writing. And that has the effect of contaminating others, just as the kind of the waste and byproduct of unprofessionally managed meat products might be a danger. I call this the banquet of our suffering, the Feast of Offal. And there's a quote from the Bible, Proverbs 29:11. A fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it till afterwards. This strange meal consists of the waste and byproduct of unreasoned and unprincipled living, which we sometimes discard like filth where we live, think, and act. Every time we become confused, frustrated, upset, or angry, and we take pains to let all the world know, we are then spilling our own personal offal upon the world, spreading the filth of our hot, raw emotions onto everyone within range of our upset. The curious thing is that so many then take up the filth we flung at them to then consume it with seeming relish. They consume it with relish because they're abiding and kind of relishing the upset of others. We do that as humans. It's the way that there's a word for that, something Freudenfrogen or something like that, to describe how we do that, which is dangerous because it's ungracious and it contaminates us in the process. The curious thing is that so many then take up the filth we flung at them to then consume it with seeming relish, making themselves immediately sick in the process and causing them to begin their own reciprocal feast of offal. And thus it spreads from one to another throughout the waking day and even at night while we dream our emotions into life. An awful banquet of filth. Soil, there you go. Night filth, huh? soiling, soiling deeply our peace and better living, poisoning our lives and the lives of everyone we know. I wish to cover my mouth and nose instead, to filter out the excess of undisciplined thought and living, to temper my emotions and my careless consumption of the emotions of others. I will neither offer nor consume the feast. So, the best way to avoid engaging in the Feast of Offal is to control our expression of the emotions that churn within. expressing them with care, so as not to be careless in our communication and hurt others in the process, as well as ourselves. Excuse me. Okay, as for today, I have a number of things I need to do, so I'm going to wrap this up quick and get to it. First, I need to call the bank to confirm some benefits from the credit card I plan to use to reserve the car. I want to make sure that I'll have proper insurance coverage with the car that I rent, and I think that my credit card will offer at least uh, uh, damage insurance, but probably not liability. So I'll call them up to determine that. I also need to prepare for a SIM card to use while I'm there, an eSIM, so I have phone functionality while I'm in the States. I need to reserve a rental car. I need to extend the. I've decided to, instead of just having the rental car for the first few days of the start and the end of the trip, I'm just going to rent the whole damn car the whole damn time. If I'm going to be there for 3 weeks, I'm going to be fully mobile and capable. Well, I'm not going to rely on anybody else. It's going to be expensive. It's going to cost me $1,000 to have that rental car for that time. And that's the best price I could find. Well, going with a first rate rental agency. I don't want to use anything other than Enterprise, Hertz, or Budget for my rental. I have my reasons. Convenience, basically, the in and out at the agency at the airports. I don't like to have to fuss around with rental agencies when I have a flight to catch. Yeah, so I'm willing to pay the extra money. And then I'm going to complete my mock packing. I think we bought everything, all the gifts that I needed to bring. Yumiko was great. She packed everything up, the gifts for the kids. Birthdays are happening while I'm there. And so I'll be able to do a mock packing. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'll read comments, wrap this up, and get started on these things. I can call the banks this morning because it's early morning here, but it's early afternoon there, I think. I can't see the temperature, the wind. We've got a windy night. It blew my outdoor thermometer over, so I don't know what the temperature is, but here inside it's about 12. It's cold. Hi, Robert. Robert says, hi, Kurt. Currently 34 degrees Fahrenheit and 84% humidity with an air quality index of 52 in Napanee, Ontario, Canada. Hello, Sarah. Sarah, it's just good morning, Kurt. Robert, such a peaceful day you had in the garden. I hope you use that memory of playing your guitar by the river as a comfort when you go back to the U.S. Hope you can come back soon. Thank you, Sarah. I plan to do just that. I was stockpiling in my mind with impressions yesterday. Also, while I sat next to my wife and had dinner last night, I was impressioning that upon my mind. Unfortunately, there's a guitar, my father's guitar, which was busted up. But before I left America, I got it fixed, and it's fully functional, so I can sit out in the garage of my brother's house and strum his guitar, strum our father's guitar, which works nicely. Robert says hello to Sarah. Evelyn says, hi, Evelyn. Says hi to Robert and myself. It's and reports in 13 degrees Celsius and 86% humidity. I really feel for what you're going through. I too have to leave for the USA soon. Yeah. Uh, Nothing against the USA necessarily. I just don't want to go. I guess it's nothing against the USA. It's just everything for the life that I have now. I'm very excited to start my new job. I'm settling into a nice life here. It feels like I'm finally just 1 year in. It's almost a year to. Gosh, you know what? I just realized it. It's almost a year to the mark that I'll be going back. I won't quite make it a year before I go back. Evelyn says, I just don't want to go, but my horror show is awaiting me as well. Ah, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I know that you were dealing with your horror show before. I didn't realize it was continuing, Evelyn. I feel for you. And I have another one brewing back in the States. So, like I've said, this particular horror show does not have to do with my mother, although I'm going to visit my mom while I'm back, even though as reluctant as I am, because I know she doesn't want to see me. I mean, Would you believe when I go to the door to, because I can't really, I have to kind of ambush my mom to see her. If I try to arrange to see her beforehand, she won't let me come, and she told me to stay away. So I kind of have to. I have this trick that I do. I kind of say, "Hey," I call her up like in the morning and say, "Hey, I'm in the area. Can I drop by?" And she will welcome that. She's like a dog that's gonna, if you they'll let you pet him for a little bit, but if you pet him too long, they're gonna snap at you. If she lets sits on the idea that I'm gonna come by for a few hours, she'll call me up and say, "Stay the hell away." But if I say, "Yeah, I'm in the area, I'm gonna come by," and then immediately go over to her house, she's cool with that. But when I do go to her house, and there was a time not so long ago when I went to her house because I couldn't reach her, she wouldn't answer the phone. Would you believe I actually knocked on the door and, like one of those old police dramas, turned aside to hang on the side of the door with the wall thing, just in case a shotgun blast would come through the door, because I know my mom is armed and I know that I wouldn't put it past her to do that. And sure enough, she came to the door armed, which I guess is a good thing in a way. I don't want to get killed. So it's so anyway, my mom's going to be 90, and her good luck of her good health, isn't going to last forever, and she's going to eventually need me. And I keep telling my wife what's happening now. This particular horror show is a great practice run for what's going to happen when eventually my mom needs me and I have to go back again. I'll have the process down. I'm going to document this process. In fact, I created a custom chat GPT called the Situation GPT it's been helping me organize all of this stuff, and it's going to remember, because I can keep it. Once you create a GPT, you can keep that GPT, and I'll use it in the future should I be called back, when I'm called back to my mom. Evelyn says hi to Sarah. Sarah says, "I feel for you. You have worked so hard to create such a beautiful life in Japan. I hope you can have some moments of light helping this person and dealing with this situation. Thank you." Sarah, I hope so too. My goal is very straightforward. My goal but it's a very hard goal, is to get them into a safe situation for the rest of their life. And unfortunately, this person has ample means, so it's a matter of making helping to make the hard cognitive choices, and making sure that all the pieces of the puzzle are in place so that they're safe. Plus, coming up with a a what you know a what do you call it? It's a list. I'm going to leave them with a list of, here's the phone number to call for this, that, and the other thing. And unfortunately, this person that I'm going back to see, it is a family member. You could probably piece it together if you try very hard. Is in within the bosom of a huge community of friends, including their church. So they're not alone. And but but you know what I mean. It's as a brother. Well, now you know who it is. As a brother, it's I have a desire to make sure that they're safe, even though they don't really want my help either. Nobody seems to want my help. None of my family. Uh, Sarah says, "That's a vision, imagining you're 90 years old with mom at a shotgun at the door, with a shotgun at the door." Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and actually, she did it. She did it once before. I remember when I was a boy, we were living out in the countryside, and our father was gone. We were at the house, and I was probably 13. My brother was 11. And a strange guy came to the door. My mom went to the door with a shotgun, and to scare him off, she aimed the shotgun at the ceiling and blew a hole through the ceiling of our house. That scared him. He left. So I'm not kidding when I'm saying that, you know I go to knock on my mom's door with fear in my mind. Uh, Robert says, "Situation is a song by Yazoo." Robert says, "Yep, now I do. Yep, now you do." All right, everybody. I'm going to sign off for now. Wish everybody the best. Evelyn, now that I know you're returning to your horror show too, I'm going to wish you all the best with that as well. I forgot, and Sarah says, I forgot in the US it's more common to be armed, and everybody in my family is armed to the teeth, except me. The one, even though I was raised with guns, of course I wouldn't be armed in Japan, but I'm never armed in the United States either. So I feel very out of place in my family full of weapons. Robert says, well, Kurt, I often hear that fear and excitement are the same energy. That's an interesting observation, Robert. Thank you for sharing that. Sarah says, have a great day, Kurt. All the best. You too, Sarah, Evelyn, Robert, anyone else out there who has joined in. I think there was one other person, wasn't there? I saw. I think that was it. Okay. No Tim today. Hope Tim's doing well. Wish you all the best, Tim, if you watch this later. Be safe, but not too safe. Thank you, Robert. Take care. And Evelyn says, I hope you can sleep well tonight. Thank you. Usually I do the night after because I'm so sleep deprived. Be safe, but not too safe. Tonight, I will die in my sleep. Well, tonight I just hope I sleep. Take care. Bye-bye.